Good morning, everybody. Jane Monreal on Live Impact News on WCNC+. Today, we mark 24 years since the attacks on New York City, America, starting with the Twin Towers in New York City on 9/11. We are monitoring a number of ceremonies, including one in Uptown Charlotte, where flags have been laid out to remember the 2,977 lives lost from 9/11. Also, we will be waiting for the President of the United States. This is the Pentagon. He is expected to be there. We can see Vice President J.D. Vance there in the background, but President Trump will be there at around 9:30. He is expected to deliver remarks after that bell tolls. Right now, we want to get you to New York City, where Ground Zero Memorial is taking place, and they will be marking the first set of bells at 9:03, and we will go ahead and dip in and out of the Charlotte ceremony as well as New York City here on Ground Zero. You can, by the way, if you want to watch this in full, our secondary channel here on WCNC Plus is available, where that will be carrying throughout the morning. Let's listen in live. Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Brian Eugene Belcher.
Mark Bingham.
Carl Vincent Beanie.
And my son, Paul Robert Eckner. On this 24th anniversary, we gather around the memorial with the stillness of what is a very sad day. Who can I turn to say I love you? But I am not moving. There are many voices in my room, but there is no answer. Forever, you are always in our heart. We love you. Love Mom and Dad.
And for my uncle, Hilario Soriano Samaya Jr., another year has passed and gone by, but it still has not been the same without you. Our whole family misses your smile and the joy you would fill the room with when you entered. Since you've been gone, so much has changed, but our love for you is not. You're officially a great uncle with 2 great nieces, 1 great nephew, and another on the way. And to paraphrase Dr. Hurlick from One Piece, when a person passes, it's not they die at their last breath. They die when they are forgotten. So let us never forget our loved ones who have passed 24 years ago, the first responders, and those who served our country following the events of this tragedy.
And we can see there President Trump now arriving for the ceremony that is expected to begin here shortly. Again, he is expected to deliver remarks at 9:38 as we monitor both ceremonies remembering 24 years of 9/11. One, the left-hand side is at Ground Zero in New York City. The second shot is at the Pentagon. We continue to listen in live on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Gary Eugene Bird.
Joshua David Birnbaum.
George John Bishop.
Chris Romeo Bessart.
Jeffrey Donald Bittner.
Albert Belwa Blackman Jr.
Christopher Joseph Blackwell.
Carrie Rosetta Blackburn.
Susan Leigh Blair.
Harry Blending Jr.
Janice Lee Blaney.
Craig Michael Blass.
Rita Blau.
Richard Middleton Flood Jr.
Michael Andrew Bacardi.
John Paul Bocci.
Michael L. Bocchino.
Susan M. Bocchino.
Dara Francis Bodley.
Bruce Douglas Bohem.
Mary Catherine Murphy Bofa.
Nicholas Andrew Bogdan.
Darren Christopher Bohan.
Lawrence Francis Bassau.
Vincent M. Boland Jr.
Turi Hamzi Bolucci,
Alan Bodenarco,
Andre Bohar Jr.,
Colin Arthur Bonnet,
Frank J. Bonanno,
Yvonne Lucia Bonamo,
Sean Booker Sr.,
Kelly Ann Booms,
Canfield D. Boone,
Mary Jane Booth,
Sherry Ann Bodox,
Christine Bordename,
Jerry J. Barb,
Martin Michael Borchevsky,
Richard Edward Bosco,
and my father, Robert David Puglisi. He left behind me and my two brothers, Michael and Dennis, and my mother, Maureen. He has two grandsons now in California named Vincent and Alexander, and it's not fair that he didn't get to meet them, and we miss him.
and my brother Rudolph and Riccio. Rudy, I don't know what to say about you. I'm sorry that things didn't go well, and I'm also sorry that you died before I had a chance to tell you I love you. God bless you, and thank you.
Klaus Bote,
Carol Marie Bouchard,
J. Howard Bolton,
Francisco Eligio Bourdier,
Thomas Howard Bowden Jr.,
Donna M. Bowen,
Kimberly S. Bowers,
Veronique Nicole Bowers,
Larry Bowman,
Sean Edward Bauman Jr.,
Kevin L. Bowser,
Gary R. Box,
Gennady Boyarsky,
Pamela Boyce,
Alan B. Poyle,
Michael Boyle,
Alfred J. Braca,
Sandra Conady Brace,
Kevin Hugh Bracken,
Sandy Waugh Bradshaw,
David Brian Brady,
Alexander Berginski,
Nicholas W. Brandemarty,
Daniel Raymond Brandhorst,
David Reed Gamboa Brandhorst,
Michelle Renee Bratton,
Patrice Brout,
Lydia Estelle Bravo,
Ronald Michael Breitweiser,
Edward A. Brennan III,
Frank H. Brennan,
Michael E. Brennan,
Peter Brennan,
Thomas Moore Brennan,
Daniel J. Brethel,
Gary Lee Bright,
Jonathan Eric Briley,
Mark A. Brisman,
Paul Gary Bristow,
Marion R. Britton,
and my father-in-law, Eustace Rudy Backus. We love and miss you very much. It is not often that your name does not come up in conversation at family gatherings. We know that you're still with us because your grandchildren who haven't met you talk about you like you're in the other room. We love you.
and my father, Frank Joseph Doyle, who lived every day to the fullest. To honor his memory, we created a nonprofit. Team Frank Africa has now built 16 schools in South Africa and feeds and educates thousands of children every day. We love and miss you so much.
Mark Francis Broderick,
Herman Charles Broghammer,
Keith A. Broomfield,
Bernard C. Brown II,
Janice J. Louise Brown,
Lloyd Stanford Brown,
Patrick John Brown,
Bettina B. Brown Radburn,
Mark Bruce,
Richard George Brewhert,
Andrew Brunn,
Vincent Edward Brunton,
Ronald Buca,
Brandon J. Buchanan,
Greg J. Buck,
Dennis Buckley,
Nancy Claire Boucher,
Patrick Joseph Boos,
John Edward Bulaga, Jr.,
Stephen Bruce Bunnan,
Christopher L. Burford,
Matthew J. Burke,
Thomas Daniel Burke,
William Francis Burke, Jr.,
Charles F. Burlingame III,
Thomas E. Burnett, Jr.,
Donald J. Burns,
Kathleen Ann Burns,
Keith James Burns,
John Patrick Burnside,
Irina Buslow,
Milton G. Bustillo,
Thomas M. Butler,
Patrick Dennis Byrne,
Timothy G. Byrne,
Daniel M. Caballero,
Jesus Neptali Cabezas,
Lillian Caceres,
Brian Joseph Caccia,
Stephen Dennis Cafiero, Jr.,
and my brother, David E. Reddick. Not a day goes by that I do not think about you and miss you. I love you so very much, David.
and my brother Christopher Michael Traina. We all love you and we miss you forever.
Richard Michael Caggiano,
Cecile Maria Caglia,
John Brett Cahill,
Michael John Cahill,
Scott Walter Cahill,
Thomas Joseph Cahill,
George C. Kane,
Salvatore B. Calabro,
Joseph M. Calandrio,
Philip V. Calcagno,
Edward Calderon,
Jose O. Calderon Olmedo,
Kenneth Marcus Caldwell,
Dominic E. Calia,
Felix Bobby Caliste,
Francis Joseph Callahan,
Liam Callahan,
Susan M. Cali,
Gino Luigi Calvi,
Rocco Camaj,
Michael F. Camerata,
David Odie Campbell,
Jeffrey Thomas Campbell,
Robert Arthur Campbell,
Sandra Patricia Campbell,
Sean Thomas Canavan,
John A. Candela,
Vincent A. Cangelosi,
Stephen J. Cangelosi,
Lisa Bella Canava,
Brian Canizaro,
Michael R. Canty,
Louis Anthony Caparici,
Jonathan Neff Capello,
James Christopher Cappers,
Richard Michael Caproni,
Jose Manuel Cardona,
Dennis M. Carey Sr.,
Edward Carlino,
Michael Scott Carlo,
and my uncle, Colonel Charles Edward Jones, who proudly served this country with the United States Air Force. Not a day goes by that I don't think of you, that we do not think of your smile that lit up a room and lit up every room that you walked into, and that intelligent twinkle in your eye that you always had. We miss you greatly, Chuck, and we think of you always.
and my cousin Salvatore J. Ziza. The J is for Joseph, which is my first name, and that was my uncle's name, and that's my godfather. We miss you, Sal, and one day we'll see you again.
David G. Carlone,
Rosemary C. Carlson,
Mark Stephen Carney,
Joyce Ann Carpenetto,
Jeremy Kaz Carrington,
Michael T. Carroll,
Peter J. Carroll,
James Joseph Carson, Jr.,
Christopher Mikhail Karstanjan,
Angelini C. Carter,
James Marcel Cartier,
Sharon Ann Carver,
Vivian Castleduck,
John Francis Casaza,
Paul Regan Cassio,
Neely Ann Heffernan Casey,
William Joseph Cashman,
Thomas Anthony Casoria,
William Otto Casper,
Alejandro Castano,
Arcelia Castillo,
Leonard M. Castriano,
Jose Ramon Castro,
William E. Caswell,
Richard G. Catarelli,
Christopher Sean Cadden,
Robert John Caulfield,
Mary Teresa Caulfield,
Judson Cavalier,
Michael Joseph Cawley,
Jason David Kane,
Juan Armando Ceballos,
Marcia G.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus at 9:17. I'm Jane Monreal. As we will continue to monitor and listen in on the memorial for 9/11 at Ground Zero in New York City. That ceremony is available to you in its entirety. That is playing out full and live on the secondary channel here on WCNC Plus. We are also, as you saw earlier, President Trump with First Lady Melania at the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, where they are there for a wreath-laying ceremony, and a moment of silence at 9:37, and then he will deliver remarks as well. So we will dip into that as soon as that starts. They are also reading names at that ceremony at the Pentagon. But right now, I want to bring it here closer to home because we all felt it, didn't we? 24 years ago on 9/11, including Larry Sprinkle, who joins us here in the Live Impact studio. Larry, thank you for being here. We were just saying we usually meet under, of course, happier circumstances and making things all light and jolly. But of course, today, a different day, and we love to see you nonetheless and talk and share and just remember. And you were here on 9/11, right?
No doubt, yeah, on the air doing the morning show, I mean, it was such a vivid memory because. On WCNC, we have what's called cut-ins, where we go from the Today Show back to local. We do the weather and the news. And on that day, it was around, I think I was watching Matt Lauer interviewing a gentleman who wrote a book about Howard Hughes. And they were describing the history of Howard Hughes. And I think it was around 8:52. Matt Lauer goes, we have a report. There's some incident at the World Trade Center. And we have a live picture. They didn't have one. We'll be back after the break. They came after the break, and there's a shot of the two towers, and obviously the fire and the flames and the smoke. And they went on the air. And from that point on, we were off local for about 27, 28 hours as we found out what happened as the planes hit one after another the World Trade Center. And it's a moment when you're mesmerized by what's going on visually, and then your heart is broken.
Yeah.
Because at that, I remember just thinking to myself, we've been attacked.
What is going? Yes.
What's happening here?
Yeah, because at first we were all thinking, "Oh my gosh, there's been a plane crash at the towers."
You know?
Right. How terrible!
It had happened in the 1940s.
Awful.
A plane had crashed and hit one of the buildings. I can't remember which one it hit. So people just thought it was an accident. Then they realized, no, it's not.
Right.
If you watch the actual broadcast, which you can actually see today of the Today Show, and you're watching as they have a reporter out on the scene describing the tower hit, and there's a wide shot, and if you look closely, in the air, to the right-hand side, you can see this dot coming out of the sky, getting larger and larger. Then they cut away to a close-up of that tower. Then there was a scream from the reporter, "Oh my gosh, the other tower's been hit." Then they cut to a shot of the two-shot again. You see smoke pouring out of the second tower hit on that one.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it brings me chills and goosebumps all over again, because I was living in LA at the time, on the radio as a young journalist, and working, delivering news reports to many of our affiliates. Westwood One, I don't even know if that.
Oh yeah, I remember Westwood One. Yes,
So
definitely,
I
yeah.
delivered news reports, and we, a rip and read
Yes.
kind of thing. But I worked the afternoon drive, so. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. I had missed all of what happened live because we're 3 hours behind on the West Coast. Got a phone call, turn on your TV, thought it was an incident at the Twin Towers, but it looks like it has, we're under attack, just like you said. And then we had pagers. We were just remembering in the newsroom, and it was, come to work, need you now.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck, and that's what it was. And it was, nose to the grindstone and trying to update our affiliates, because not everyone went to the network.
Yes.
And I remember driving, and I had quite a commute, and just driving in and seeing the American flags on those overpasses, and your heart just breaks.
It just, when you look back on that day, and just the earth stood still. The world stopped, mesmerized by what was going on in New York City. And then when you saw how enormous the situation was and the tragedy, then you heard about the Pentagon, then the plane crashing in Pennsylvania. It was a nightmare. And it was just, it was like every single person in this country came together. Unlike the world today.
Right.
But we were Americans, regardless of affiliation. And it just showed the power of what the United States can do. Then also the tragedy that happened that day, that 9/11 was such a tragedy to so many people and so many families affected, and the heartbreak from seeing what happened to, for example, the firefighters, all the first responders who, regardless of what was going on, up the stairs they went.
And not knowing, to the extent of some of those injured first responders not knowing for years what was happening and why they were getting sick until many years later, and that became a whole thing. And speaking of firefighters, my husband's a firefighter, a retired firefighter, and 9/11 was a pivotal moment for him because he was not always a firefighter. He was a teacher. This is pre-Jane. And he was a teacher in Dallas, Texas. And so that moment, as Larry said, we all became Americans, more patriotic than you ever would know or know today. And for him, it was a pull to fulfill a lifelong dream, a childhood dream. And that's when he
I didn't realize
became a
that's when he
firefighter.
became a firefighter. Wow.
Yeah,
there
in
were so
his
many
adulthood.
people like your husband who became so patriotic and so dedicated. I met a gentleman in Kannapolis at an event there about a month ago who was in the Marine Corps. He, at the time this happened, he was 18. He was in college. He said the minute he saw that, he dropped out of college, joined the Marines, and fought in the Middle East and was critically injured. Came back as a wounded veteran, but he was honored in Kannapolis a few months ago with some other veterans. But he said that day, he said, you know what, college can wait. I'm going to serve my country, just like your husband.
It's a moment. It's a pivotal moment in many people's lives. And when we say never forget, it's not only for younger folks. Carlene, you were alive.
I was in elementary school at the time.
And what was your feeling as a child?
I remember sitting in the classroom, and I remember a teacher running in to turn on the TV in the classroom. It was already scheduled to be a half day that day. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. Yeah. My mom was a teacher at the time as well, so we just went home. And my grandma, like my mom's side of the family is from New York. So my grandma lived in Queens. My Uncle Marty worked in the Empire State Building. I remember being so scared, and I think I was confused too.
Yeah.
I remember going home, my mom putting it on the TV, and you don't grasp at a young age how
what is this?
What is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's till a couple years. It was frightening. Frightening was the word.
Yeah.
I've never seen my mom trying to call my Auntie Lane so much, trying to get see if Uncle Marty's okay. He's in the Empire State
And
Building at
obviously
the
the
time.
phones were out. You couldn't get
The
through.
phones were
Yeah,
jammed, so it was just terrifying.
Right.
Right. So you began to understand, though, days
Kind of.
later?
I feel like it took even a little
Took a
bit
while.
longer to understand just the scope,
Of what
just the
happened.
magnitude of what happened
Yeah.
at a young age. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to be confused and then to add that to a young child's brain
Right.
and heart.
And know
And
you
then
have
seeing how
family
the
and
adults
seeing your
react to it,
family.
how concerned they
That-
were, and
yeah.
upset they were, yeah.
The people
'Cause
you
I don't
look up
think
to
I don't think
scared.
at that point I had seen adults just, everywhere, just scared.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. The people that you look up to
Right.
to be grounded
fear.
are scared.
Right.
I mean,
and
there was a fear
confused.
factor. That's why the next day, planes stopped everywhere because there was
Right.
concern about it happening. In fact, here in Charlotte, they were concerned about the Bank of America corporate headquarters,
Mm-hmm.
60-story building. Is that next? You're a banking center. Are
Right.
they going to be headed here? So everything stopped, and the world just was so still.
Mm-hmm.
The next several days, I mean, nothing was going on. One of the most dramatic things I witnessed here, a couple things here at the station, but one of our meteorologists, our weekend meteorologist, was a guy named Bob Van Dillen, who's known to a lot of people because he was on CNN Headline News. He now works for the Fox network doing as a meteorologist there. Bob, there were 7 buildings altogether on the World Trade Center site. All were affected. And he came into the station and he said, Larry, and he gave me, he showed, look at this email. And it said, Bob, I don't know what's going on. There's flaming paper coming by my window. I'm going to get out of here. That was his brother. 20 hours later, he found out his brother was okay.
Oh.
20 hours. They got out of the building. They started running away from that part, from Lower Manhattan. They got to the river and got on a ferry that took them out of New York into New Jersey, and they let him off somewhere in New Jersey.
Right.
Had no transportation, no cell phone, so he was out of touch for all that time. So Bob was just so distraught because the flames go past the window. He thought, that's it, my brother's gone.
Oh my goodness.
But in many cases, family members didn't
Right.
survive.
Right. 2,977
Yeah.
lives lost that day between the Twin Towers, the ground in Pennsylvania.
Pentagon,
And then the
Yeah,
Pentagon,
Yeah.
which, by the way, we are monitoring President's comments. He is going to deliver remarks during a wreath-laying ceremony. It looks like 9:37 is that second moment of silence. There was a moment of silence at Ground Zero in New York City at 9:03 when the first plane hit the first tower. So we are going to go to that, and they are reading names, continuing to read names at both Ground Zero, New York City, and the Pentagon out of Arlington, Virginia. And so in the weeks and months, Larry, following 9/11, what was it like here? Obviously, we have so many New Yorkers, people from Jersey with Carolina connections, family,
Right.
friends, covering those personal stories and seeing it, not that we're Ground Zero, but I mean, it's a direct line.
No doubt.
Right,
yeah.
up
I
to
mean,
the
two
East
major
Coast.
cities were a banking center.
Right.
Not as big then as we are now, but obviously a banking center, corporate headquarters for several banks. And so there was a lot of concern. And I mean, it touched every American. And then those people that you come in contact with somebody who has a relative
Right.
who was there. I have a good friend of mine's wife taught students. They lived in New Jersey, a small town called Basking Ridge, New Jersey, and 18 of her students' parents died in what happened. And this one small town, so it affected everybody. It didn't matter where you were in the United States. At some point,
Yes,
some way,
absolutely.
there was a connection to it. If not, you were an American, and these were people that died. You know what a lot of people forget about. That was 2001.
Right.
In 1993, the World Trade Center was hit by a bomb, a truck
Right.
bomb.
Right.
Killed 6 and injured about 1,000 people. And they evacuated both of the towers on that day in 1993. It really was the first time. And those terrorists expected what to happen is that tower would fall, after being hit, would fall on the other in 93. So it really was almost a test run for what happened in 2001.
Right.
To look back at 1993 and think that this had happened one other time, and people almost completely forgot.
And that's
Yeah.
why we say never forget.
Yeah.
It's almost for us too.
Yeah.
The adults who were at that place and time, knowing where we were.
It's hard to believe
knowing what
24
we
years
did.
ago. I mean, there's a group out there that weren't even alive then.
Yeah.
Some of the
exactly.
people we work with in this news department,
That's right.
were either very, very young or weren't born yet. We got 24 years ago.
Incredible.
So a lot has happened since then, and that's why this is Patriot Day, a day of remembrance that we should never forget. It's something that has affected our country, and it will always be affected. You know what happened at that point, what happened afterwards with the other terrorist situations around the world, and then we're still dealing with, just a big volume of the potential that could happen again here. I mean, I think this kind of reminds us it could happen anytime, anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, and so many things changed.
Right.
Instant.
3.5 ounce travel
Yes.
at the airport.
Yeah.
Those liquids you cannot
Yeah.
bring. I mean, there was a time when everybody could go to the
You could
right up
run
to the gate. You could go right up to the gate.
Yeah.
I
if you're
remember
not
so many
flying.
times I was always late, and I'm literally, it's like out of a movie, running up to the gate and literally jumping in the plane, and then closing the door. That happened to me a couple times. You could do
Sure.
that back in those days.
Back in the day.
Never again.
yeah.
The rules are a little more lenient, but after what happened in 9/11, that will never happen again.
The world has changed.
I remember the first time not the first time I went to New York City, but the first time I was there to see the World Trade Center, and just standing there, the base is 1 acre, was 1 acre. And you go up in height, it's 110 stories, each building.
Right.
And you look and it was almost unimaginable that something could be that big, and then to think that they both came down. That those huge, gigantic buildings, bigger than anything in the world, were so affected that the steel reinforcement basically just dissolved into powder. And
yeah.
they collapsed in front of our eyes right
In front
there.
of our eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, unspeakable what happened. It's just unimaginable. I can't even. I remember just the beautiful part of it
Yeah.
were those American flags being and fire trucks over overpasses and all over. And you saw images from around the world doing the same, just waving the American flag.
Even on television, I remember seeing that you saw Friends and all these New York-based shows. They all had FDNY shirts and NYPD shirts.
FDNY, that's
It was
right.
everywhere. You know what I mean? It changed pop culture. I mean, it changed everything.
It did.
It had been since World War II, really, that we'd had that kind of united effort among all Americans, because the other involvements, there was a divided nation, especially Vietnam had divided us, and other conflicts. So it brought us all together like none of us had ever seen.
Right.
Most people, unless it was the greatest generation, those who were alive during World War II, saw that kind of united effort. But to see someone like your husband become a firefighter because of that, and those people that joined the military because they wanted to stand up and defend the country. I mean, the country was under attack at that time, and we didn't know what was going to happen after that. I mean, I think we all imagined, what's next? Are there going to be missiles coming in?
Yeah.
And,
Right.
what town is going to be hit?
Expect the unexpected. And I remember, oh goodness. So I was on the radio delivering news reports, and then local media. It was at a time where local stations sent reporters to other countries, and we found out a little bit more about these terrorist cells and these terrorist organizations. And for the news radio station, I went out to the Philippines and did some inquiring, only because I have connections with military and former military there, and was able to file reports for the local, for KFWB there on the West Coast, on a sleeper cell. Even not so much a sleeper cell, but a terrorist cell out there, and then the ripple effect of who, why, and we really looked into what is happening, where is the root of these conflicts happening, how far does it go back? And it goes way back, and it goes all over the world. So, yeah, just an endless source of, what was happening there. So I'm sorry, I'm sort of distracted because I am monitoring what is happening here. This is obviously President Trump and First Lady Melania. This is at the Pentagon as we await a second.
They're singing there happening right now if we wanted to go to it.
They're singing which one?
There is singing happening in this shot.
Okay, so go to it?
Sure.
All right, let's go ahead and listen in live on Live Impact News on WCNC+. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the invocation provided by the Chief of Navy Chaplains, Rear Admiral Gregory Todd.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, always more ready to hear our prayers than we are to pray. Mercifully grant us your presence with us today, that we may be comforted as we reflect on the events of that fateful day and strengthened for the tasks ahead. While our memory of the violence of September 11th is 24 years old, for many of us the pain still lingers as we consider the heroic sacrifices made by many that day and by many more in the years of war that resulted. For those who grieve, we pray in the sentiment of Abraham Lincoln that you, O Lord, would assuage the anguish of their bereavement and leave only the cherished memory of the loved and lost, and the solemn pride for those who have laid so costly a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom. For those of our day who have taken up the cause to secure our homeland, to wield the sword in righteousness, to protect our neighbors, grant prudence to execute justice with honor, always mindful we are under your divine gaze. Grant the blessing of wisdom and insight for our leaders, that they may be guided to do your will. Grant humility throughout our land, acknowledging your goodness to us. And finally, we offer supplications for those who currently are deployed, underway, or on duty for our nation. Surround them with the protection of the angels and a joyful reunion with faithful loved ones. In your most holy name. Amen. Please join me for a moment of silence for that minute of impact 24 years ago today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, General Dan Kane, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Good morning, Mr. President, Madam First Lady, Secretary Hegseth, members of the President's Cabinet, and leaders from across government, the military, distinguished visitors, veterans, first responders, fellow Americans, and most importantly, the families of our fallen from that day. Thank you for being here to gather in remembrance, to grieve our nation's loss, and draw strength from the heroism Americans demonstrated that day. September 11th reminds us that even in the darkest of times, American strength endures, and if attacked, we will immediately fight back. 24 years ago, on a beautiful morning here in Washington, American Airlines Flight 77 took off at 8:20 a.m. from Dulles International Airport, with 59 passengers and crew bound for Los Angeles. Here at the Pentagon, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardmen, and civilians began what they thought would be an ordinary day of service. They kissed their loved ones goodbye, dropped kids off at daycare, and commuted in here for another day of duty, having no idea what they were about to face. 200 miles north of here, Al-Qaeda terrorists took control of 2 aircraft, American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175. At 8:46 a.m., the first plane was flown deliberately into the North Tower. And minutes later, the second airplane was flown into the second tower. We all knew at that very moment that our world had changed, that America was at war. And then at 9:37 a.m., just moments ago, 24 years ago, American Airlines Flight 77 ripped through the west wall here at the Pentagon, where our flag outside the building now hangs. And this ground that we stand upon became hollowed. 2,977 were lost in the attacks that morning. The conventional wisdom is that our nation went to war weeks later in Afghanistan. The truth is, we went to war immediately, and America started to fight back before the attack was even over. In New York City, firefighters, police officers, paramedics, first responders, and everyday citizens charged into towers, climbing hundreds and hundreds of flights of stairs to rescue their fellow Americans. And right here in this courtyard at the Pentagon, as flames filled the corridors and smoke followed, service members and civilians went into that flame to save their fellow teammates. They covered their faces with t-shirts rolled in water to shield their skin and pushed through the fire and rubble. They carried the wounded out and they went back in again and again and again and again until others had to stop them from going back. And even as this building burned, the Pentagon never shut down. Survivors organized and thousands went to work to defend our nation. And there were 40 first responders on United Airlines Flight 93. 40 heroes who, unlike us who wear the cloth of our nation, never took an oath to protect and defend our nation. They just got on an airplane. And knowing full well what was happening, they found the courage and commitment to run forward in that airplane. sacrificing themselves over the fields of Pennsylvania to save Americans that they would never meet and never know. And I, for one, think of them every day and the gift of courage that they gave my squadron mates and I on that day. So as we come here together, let us reflect and let us never forget. Let us never forget the families who've shown us what true courage looks like as they continue to persevere through the years after. And let us all be inspired by the determination of those brave heroes who showed us that day what America is all about. And let anybody who ever considers attacking the United States remember those examples as well, and the great American warrior spirit that was shown that day. Thank you very much. And now it's my distinct honor to introduce our nation's Secretary of War. May we never forget our fallen. May we never forget our deployed. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of War, the Honorable Pete Hegseth.
"24 years ago, Islamist terrorists massacred nearly 3,000 innocent American lives in New York City, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and right here at the Pentagon. The building you see behind me, the War Department, was targeted in an act of savage evil. And today on these hallowed grounds, we gather to honor those victims and heroes with the resolve to never forget. We gather to pay tribute to the first responders who charged into the flames and up the stairs, to those trapped on planes fighting their final fight, and to the families whose lives were forever altered by that fateful day. Like everyone in this audience, I remember exactly where I was when that first tower was struck. A college junior with a fresh set of Army fatigues in my dorm room closet, having just joined Army ROTC. Like too many Americans, I was naive to the threats brewing abroad and infiltrating our shores. But from that day forward, I felt an unshakable call to action, a duty to defend our sacred homeland with everything I had. Like all of you, 9/11 was the ultimate validator to serve. But I was not alone. An entire generation of warriors stepped forward, willing to pay the ultimate price to exact retribution and secure our country. Forged in the crucibles of Afghanistan and Iraq, we stood watch in distant lands on dangerous missions, often, in retrospect, nebulous missions, all to secure our people and so we could live in peace. War is an enduring aspect of the human condition, a tool that, when wielded wisely, ruthlessly punishes enemies intent on terrorizing or subjugating our nation. War must not become a mere tool for global social work, eager to risk American blood and treasure for utopian fever dreams. We should hit hard, wreak vengeance, and return home. For 2 decades, our warriors fought with valor every day, far from home, even though sometimes their leaders gave them nation-building missions and half-baked exits. Thankfully today, we have an American military that President Trump has now rebuilt twice. Yet despite the weight of history, the Department of War will always honor the service of our warriors and all they left behind, never straying from the warrior ethos they and those on 9/11 embodied and deserve. We best honor their memory and the memory of 9/11 by learning the correct lessons of that day and the decades of courage that followed. Full hearts, clear eyes. To every member of our War Department, past and present, you are the best, the real elite, the real 1% of this nation. Standing here today, we honor those 184 rings of the bell, souls lost at the Pentagon and on Flight 77. Even as first responders were grossly outnumbered by the wounded, many ran toward the chaos, cared for the injured, and comforted the dying. It was bedlam. But in that moment, American heroism was laid bare. That purpose, that spirit lives on in uniform today. Despite such tragedies, our republic endured. It endured that day. It endured on Flight 93, charging that cockpit, and at the Pentagon. It endured over those Islamists. It endured over 2 decades of war, and it endured stronger, wiser, and tougher, forged by the blood and courage of patriots. Our job now is to ensure that future generations inherit a strong and vigilant America. 9/11 is vivid for me and all of you, but it will soon live only in the history books for our youngest. We must teach our children that the price of freedom we love is eternal vigilance. Instill in them the importance of upholding America's Constitution, holding tight to our freedom and our faith, and relentlessly pursuing our enemies. Prepare them to defend this nation by the ballot, the wallet, and when necessary, the cloth of our country, because the world remains a viper's nest. It requires us. As I speak, hostile elements plot to curb our power and slaughter our people in our homeland, in our hemisphere, and halfway around the globe. Not everyone needs to wear a uniform, but some of us do. That is our profession and our promise to this nation. In closing, a reading from Scripture, Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 4. We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, and character produces hope. On this day, 24 years ago, we suffered. In the years since, we have endured. Our service and sacrifice have forged our character, and today we stand in hope for the future of our great nation. The young soldiers who take the oath give me hope. The young cops who wear the badge give me hope. The young firefighters who answer the call give me hope. The young agents who patrol our border give me hope. The life, example, and even death of Christ follower and American patriot Charlie Kirk give me hope. Sheer courage, no matter the arena. Charlie, we love you. We know that you have heard the Lord's words. Well done, good and faithful servant. Full heart, clear eyes. Like those on 9/11, he will never be forgotten. So I thank God for all of you and all of our fighters from that day to today and beyond. May God bless our warriors as they ruthlessly seek our enemies on behalf of the fellow citizens they love. We owe you and all of those who witnessed 9/11 nothing less. It is now my great honor to introduce to you our Commander-in-Chief, President Donald J. Trump.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Before we begin, let me express the horror and grief so many Americans at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk have felt. Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd. Very, very big. Thank you, my fellow Americans. 84 years ago, this morning, the banks of the Potomac were filled with the clamor of construction workers who broke ground on the building, now known as the Pentagon, on September 11th, 1941. At the time, it was the biggest building ever built. From that moment forward, this structure stood as a monument to American strength, power, and cherished American freedom. Exactly 6 decades later, on September 11th, 2001, those same walls, built with the sweat and muscle, blood of our parents and grandparents, were scarred by flame and shaken by terror as our country came face to face with pure evil. On that fateful day, savage monsters attacked the very symbols of our civilization. Yet here in Virginia, and in New York, and in the skies over Pennsylvania, Americans did not hesitate. They stood on their feet, and they showed the world that we will never yield, we will never bend, we will never give up, and our great American flag will never, ever fail. That terrible morning 24 years ago, time itself stood still. The laughter of school children fell silent. The rush of our traffic came to an absolute halt. And for 2,977 innocent souls and their families, the entire world came crashing down so suddenly. In the quarter of a century since those acts of mass murder, 9/11 family members have felt the weight of missed birthdays and empty bedrooms, journals left unfinished, and dreams left unfulfilled. To every member that still feels a void every day of your lives, the First Lady and I unite with you in sorrow. And today, as one nation, we renew our sacred vow that we will never forget September 11th, 2001. Amid the horror of that morning, some used cell phones and office lines whispered their final words to those who mattered most. They whispered indeed. At 8:59 a.m. aboard United Flight 175, Brian Sweeney called his wife Julie. He told her, "Do good, go have good times. I totally love you. I'll see you again. I'll meet you up there." 4 minutes later, his plane hit the south tower of the World Trade Center. At 9:12 a.m. aboard American Airlines Flight 77, Renee May called her mom. Just the day before, Renee had learned that she was 7 weeks pregnant, but she never got the chance to share the news. She simply said, "I love you, Mom." 25 minutes later, Renee's plane struck the Pentagon. So violent, a strike it was. At 9:53 a.m. aboard United Flight 93, Elizabeth Wayneo called her stepmom. They're getting ready to break into the cockpit. What do I do? I love you so much. They're going to break in. 10 minutes later, Flight 93 ended in the hallowed field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. At 10:25 a.m., Tom McGinnis was trapped on the 92nd floor of the North Tower when he told his wonderful wife, Elena, on the phone, "There are people jumping from the floors above us. If we get out of here, it'll be a total miracle. I love you, darling. Take care of Caitlin, beautiful daughter." 3 minutes later, the tower fell. Out of the ash, we witnessed the awesome power of that incredible love. We've seen it rise again. Out of the wreckage, we watched unbelievable courage suddenly take form. And out of the darkness, we saw the timeless truth of American character shine for the world to see. In America, we take blows, but we never buckle. We bleed, but we do not bow. And we defy the fear, endure the flames, and emerge from the crucible of every hardship stronger, prouder, and greater than ever before. Last year, we were a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. In New York, there were heroes like Chuck Costello, 46-year-old elevator mechanic, and a member of the Knights of Columbus. He selflessly ran into the World Trade Center to free people trapped in the elevators. His body was not found until the following January, deep under the debris. While going through his belongings, Chuck's widow, Mary, a phenomenal woman, discovered a personal prayer written in his own words, "Help me to light the way for those in the dark, and when I enter the darkness, let me not panic, but patiently wait to remember the light." Beautiful words. When the time came, Chuck ran boldly into the darkness of hell on earth, and now he shines in the light of heaven above. We remember him this morning. That day we learned that the American heroic spirit was all around us. We saw it in the police officers, the great firefighters, the service members, here at the Pentagon, and in the hearts of every American who answered history's call. One such hero was Army Sergeant First Class Steve Workman, who was on the edge of the impact zone when this incredible Pentagon was hit. He was right there. After leading hundreds of people to escape routes, Steve turned back and plunged into the inferno itself. Pushing through the debris, he came upon a severely burned Navy lieutenant, the only survivor from the Navy Command Center. Only one. The wounded lieutenant looked into Steve's soul and said, "Don't let me die." Steve replied, "I won't. I've got you. Just hang on." He wheeled the lieutenant out of the wreckage on the back of a maintenance cart before getting in the ambulance and taking him to Walter Reed Hospital. That man Steve saved, Lieutenant Kevin Schaefer, went on to join the elite team of CIA operatives who located Osama bin Laden. Steve, you're an American hero. We appreciate it. We appreciate what you've gone through. Please stand. Please stand. Where are you? Oh, good-looking man. You're a good-looking guy. You remember that day. You remember that day. Good. Thank you very much, Steve. That was something. That was something. In the years that followed, America's warriors avenged our fallen and sent an unmistakable message to every enemy around the world. If you attack the United States of America, we will hunt you down and we will find you. Go all over this sometimes magnificent earth. We will crush you without mercy and we will triumph without question. That's why we named the former Department of Defense the Department of War. It will be different. We won the First World War. We won the Second World War. We won everything before that and in between. And then we decided to change the name. Well, now we have it back to where we all want it. Everybody wanted it. Everybody is so happy to have it back. You will fail and America will win, win, win. The enemy will always fail. 24 years have passed since that Tuesday morning in September, and an entire generation of Americans have come of age in a totally different world. While they cannot remember the agony of that day, they are carrying on the legacy of those who lost. Around 8:30 a.m. on the morning of the attacks, Army Lieutenant Colonel Kip Taylor sent an email to his friends and family describing the joys of fatherhood and his excitement for the upcoming birth of his unborn son. He wrote, "After you have kids, there are days that you just get going and you say, 'Hi, honey, I'm home.' What we do until that moment pales in comparison, but just that little statement, 'Hi, honey,' so American, so beautiful." But that's really the point of it all, isn't it? An hour after he sent that email, Flight 77 flew into Colonel Taylor's Pentagon office and claimed the life of a very proud father and true patriot. 6 weeks later, on October 25th, 2001, Colonel Taylor's son, Luke, was born. Luke then tragically lost his mom to cancer when he was just 2 years old, leaving him to be raised by his father's brother. As a young boy, Luke asked his uncle about the folded flag on the bookshelf, and when he learned about his dad's decades of devotion to the Army and the horrors of September 11th, that's when he learned. Luke carried that memory with him and joined the ROTC as a college freshman. He graduated just last year, and I'm pleased to say he is with us today as a second lieutenant and doing very well. He's rising quickly in the infantry, preparing for Army Ranger School. The spitting image of his dad, they say, Luke says that every time he puts on a uniform, he feels connected to his father and to our country. But it was a father he never knew. Luke, your parents are together in heaven, and they could not be prouder of the man that they have produced. They produced you. Those two great people produced you. Luke, please stand. Thank you. You look good, Luke. You look good. They're looking down on you. They're very proud. This morning we recall the light of America's best and bravest and the love that they showed in their final moments. In their memory, we make a solemn pledge and a noble promise. We will honor always our great heroes. You are our heroes. There's a group of people that don't want to talk about our heroes, but we will always talk about our heroes. And that's the way our country is, and that's the way the people feel. We will defend the nation they served, the values they upheld, and the freedom for which they died. We will support our troops, we will protect our families, and we will preserve the American way of life for every future generation. We will build taller, grow stronger, fight harder, and soar higher. And together we will go forward as one people with one heart, one faith, one flag, and one glorious destiny under Almighty God. May God bless the memories of those who died and the heroes who fought and the soldiers who still stand watch. May God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the singing of God Bless America, and remain standing for the benediction.
Let us pray. Almighty and merciful God, gratefully we acknowledge your presence with us this morning and implore your presence day by day. Grant peace for those who grieve, wisdom for those who lead, and courage for those standing the watch for our nation. We implore your blessing, not asking you to conform to our will, but that you would align us with yours. Now may the Lord bless us and keep us. May the Lord make his face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon us and give us peace. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Please remain seated until the departure of the official party. Thank you for joining us this morning. The Pentagon Memorial and the Pentagon Memorial Chapel are open until 12 p.m.
Wrapping up a remembrance ceremony at the Pentagon. You can see there President Trump with First Lady Melania now leaving the stage, and then Secretary Hegseth, as well as the rest of the dignitaries at the Pentagon, leaving this morning's 9/11 ceremony. We will get you back to New York City now, where they are continuing to read names. 2,977 lost at Ground Zero when the Twin Towers were attacked. And then a moment of silence scheduled for 10:28 this morning for when the North Tower fell. But we'll listen in here now live on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
J. Guadaldo.
Jose A. Guadalupe.
Cindy Yanzu Guam.
Jeffrey E. Guja.
Joseph P. Gullickson.
Babita Gurjamati Gumin.
Douglas Brian Gurian.
Janet Ruth Gustafson.
Philip T. Guza.
Barbara Guzardo.
Peter Mark Gulivari.
Gary Robert Haig.
Andrea Lynn Haberman.
Barbara Mary Habib.
Philip Hensler.
Nizam A. Hafiz.
Karen Elizabeth Haggerty.
Stephen Michael Haggis.
Mary Lou Haig.
David Halderman.
Yvette Moreno. Sean Talon. Michael Eichen. Oriel Palmer. Jimmy Hopper. And my brother, Kevin Joseph Frawley. We love and miss you, Kevin. May God bless all the victims, God bless all the families, and God bless America.
And my grandfather, Adil Agebi Zachary. We will always and forever miss you.
Miley Raquel Hale.
Diane Hale McKenzie.
Richard B. Hall.
Stanley R. Hall.
Oswald George Hall.
Robert J. Halligan.
Vincent Gerard Halloran.
Caroline B. Hallman.
James Douglas Halvorsen.
Mohammed Salman Hamdani.
Felicia Hamilton.
Robert W. Hamilton.
Carl Max Hammond Jr.
Frederick K. Hahn.
Christopher James Hanley.
Sean S. Hanley.
Valerie Joan Hanna.
Thomas Paul Hannafin.
Kevin James Hannaford Sr.
Michael Lawrence Hannon.
Dana Ray Hannon.
Christine Lee Hansen.
Peter Burton Hansen.
Sue Kim Hansen.
Vasilios G. Haramis.
James A. Haran.
Gerald Francis Hardacre.
Jeffrey Pike Hardy.
T.J. Hargrave.
Daniel Edward Harlan.
Francis Harros.
Harvey L. Harrell.
Stephen G. Harrell.
Melissa Harrington Hughes.
Aisha Ann Harris,
Stuart D. Harris,
John Patrick Hart,
Eric Hartano,
John Clinton Hartz,
Emric Harvey,
and my father, David Michael Barkway. Although I didn't get to meet you, I've heard so many amazing stories from your loved ones. I've picked up your golf obsession, and I have your clubs, and I'm chasing your scores. My dad was a proud Canadian who loved his family, friends, golf, and his job at BMO. On behalf of my mom, my brother Jamie, and I, we love you and we miss you.
and my niece, Michelle Marie Reed, who would have turned 50 years young this July 9th, 2025. Even though it's been 24 years that we have been here living our lives without you, missing your infectious smile and your unbelievable zest for living each day to its fullest. Be it working at A&on, spending weekends with your family in upstate Shenango County on the farm, riding the trails on your ATV, or listening to the Grateful Dead, or enjoying photography. Your name is spoken daily with beautiful memories of your childhood and college events. We honor you today, along with the 2,976 others who perished on 9/11, and the family members and loved ones who stand before you today. Implore you to continue to educate our country, and especially our children, on this incredible importance of this historic day. God bless America. Thank you.
Peter Paul Hashim,
Thomas Theodore Haskell Jr.,
Timothy Sean Haskell,
Joseph John Hassan III,
Leonard W. Hatton Jr.,
Terrence S. Hatton,
Michael Helmut Hobb,
Timothy Aaron Haviland,
Donald G. Havlish Jr.,
Anthony Maurice Hawkins,
Nobuhiro Hayatsu,
James Edward Hayden,
Robert J. Hayes,
Philip T. Hayes,
W. Ward Haynes,
Scott Jordan Hazelcorn,
Michael K. Healy,
Roberta B. Heber,
Charles Francis Xavier Heron,
John F. Heffernan,
Michelle M. Heidenberger,
Sheila M. S. Hine,
H. Joseph Heller Jr.,
Joanne L. Helta Bridle,
Ronald John Hemingway,
Mark F. Hemscott,
Ronnie Lee Henderson,
Brian Hennessy,
Edward R. Hennessy Jr.,
Michelle Marie Enrique,
Joseph Patrick Henry,
William L. Henry Jr.,
Katharina Henry Robinson,
John Christopher Henwood,
Robert Allen Hepburn,
Mary Herencia,
Lindsay C. Harkness III,
Harvey Robert Hermer,
Noberto Hernandez,
Raul Hernandez,
and my father, Charles Gregory John. I'm grateful for all the memories we got to share, but wishing we had time to make new ones. Missing you dearly.
and my brother, Barry Simowitz. Barry, we miss you, we love you, and we think about you all the time.
Gary Harold,
Jeffrey Allen Hirsch,
Thomas J. Hetzel,
Leon Bernard Haywood, MC Sundance,
Brian Christopher Hickey,
Emencio Dario Hildego Cedino,
Timothy Brian Higgins,
Robert D.W. Higley II.
Todd Russell Hill.
Clara Victorine Hines.
Neil O. Hines.
Mark Hindi.
Kuatsu Harai.
Heather Malia Ho.
Tara Yvette Hobbs.
Thomas Anderson Hobbs.
James J. Hobbin.
Robert Wayne Hobson III.
Dewan Hodges.
Ronald G. Horner.
Patrick A. Hoey.
John A. Hofer.
Marcia Hoffman.
Stephen Gerard Hoffman.
Frederick Joseph Hoffman.
Michael L. Hoffman.
Judith Florence Hoffmiller.
Wallace Cole Hogan Jr.
Thomas Warren Holwick Jr.
Jonathan R. Homan.
Cora Hidalgo Holland.
John Holland.
Joseph F. Holland.
Jimmy I. Holly.
Elizabeth Holmes.
Thomas P. Hollahan.
Herbert Wilson Homer.
Leroy W. Homer Jr.
Bradley V. Horn.
James P. Hopper.
And my sister, Carol Ann Kiesler.
We love you.
I can't.
Go. And my brother, firefighter Michael Francis Lynch.
Montgomery McCullough Horde.
Michael Joseph Horn.
Matthew Douglas Horning.
Robert L. Horojo, Jr.
Michael Robert Horrocks.
Aaron Horwitz.
Charles J. Houston.
Uruhu G. Houston.
Angela M. Houts.
George Gerard Howard.
Brady K. Howell.
Michael C. Howell.
Stephen Leon Howell.
Jennifer L. Helly.
Milagros Ramada.
Marion R. Richek.
Stephen Husko Jr.
Chris Robert Hughes.
Paul Rexford Hughes.
Chris Robert Hughes.
Thomas F. Hughes Jr.
Timothy Robert Hughes.
Susan Huey.
Lamar Demetrius Hulse.
John Nicholas Humber Jr.
William Christopher Hunt.
Kathleen Ann Hunt Casey.
Joseph Gerard Hunter.
Peggy M. Hurt.
Robert R. Husa.
Stephen N. Highland Jr.
Robert J. Himmel.
Thomas Edward Hines.
Walter G. Hines.
Joseph Anthony Ianelli.
Zutu Evis.
Jonathan Lee Ielpi.
Michael Patrick Eichen.
Daniel Ilkanakiv.
Frederick J. Ill Jr.
And my uncle, Robert R. Talhami. I will forever cherish the memories we made at the shore. Your family loves and misses you. We live in your honor every day.
And my uncle, Arnold Arboleta Lim. Although my twin brother Liam and I didn't get the chance to meet you, I know you would have been a great uncle to us, based on the stories our mother Lynette would tell us about you. Not a day goes by where our family doesn't miss your presence, your smile, your kindness, and your love for your family. I hope you continue to watch over us from above, and just know that we are always thinking about you and that your family will be okay. We will continue to live on your memory. We love you very much, Uncle Arnold.
Abraham Nathaniel Elowitz,
Anthony P. Infante, Jr.,
Louis S. Inglaterra,
Christopher Noble Ingracia,
Paul Inella,
Stephanie Veronica Earby,
Douglas Jason Eargang,
Kristen Irvine Ryan,
Todd Antione Isaac,
Eric Hans Isbronson,
Taizo Ishikawa,
Walid Joseph Iskandar,
Aram Iskandarian Jr.,
John F. Iskian,
Kazushige Ito,
Alexander Valerievich Ivantsov,
Lacey Bernard Ivory,
Virginia May Yablonsky,
Brian C. Jack,
Brooke Alexandra Jackman,
Aaron Jeremy Jacobs,
Ariel Lewis Jacobs,
Jason Kyle Jacobs,
Michael G. Jacobs,
Stephen A. Jacobson,
Stephen D. Jacoby,
Ricknoth Jaggernoth,
Jake Dennis Yagoda,
Yudvir S. Jane,
Maria Yakubiak,
Robert Adrian Jalbert,
Ernest James,
Griselda E. James,
Mark Stephen Jardim,
Amy Nicole Jarrett,
Muhammadu Jawara,
Francois Jean-Pierre,
Maxima Jean-Pierre,
Paul Edward Jeffers,
John Charles Jenkins,
and my brother, Thomas Harold Bowden Jr. Tommy, I can't believe that you've been gone for 24 years. Sometimes it feels like a whole lifetime ago, and sometimes the memories are as fresh and painful as if it all just happened yesterday. What I do know is that you made a tremendous impact on so many people while you were here, and that your memory lives on through the lives of the people that you touched. We miss you and we love you.
and my godfather and uncle Richard S. Gabriel. We love you and miss you. Your spirit lives on. And I know that my Uncle Richie would want me to give a shout out to all the first responders who gave their lives on that day. For the longest time, we thought he died alone on the 78th floor, and we later learned that Battalion Chief Oriole Palmer and Fire Marshal Ronald Buca were there, and there was hope and there was comfort in having those first responders there. Thank you to all the first responders and to everybody who is currently battling 9/11 related illnesses and who passed from it. My heart goes out to you as well. Thank you.
Joseph Jenkins Jr., Alan Keith Jensen, Prem Nath Durat, Farah Judy, Wider Gian, Eliza Jimenez Jr., Luis Jimenez Jr., Charles Gregory John, Nicholas John, Dennis M. Johnson, Lashana Johnson, Scott Michael Johnson, William R. Johnston, Allison Horstman Jones, Arthur Joseph Jones III.
Brian Leander Jones.
Charles Edward Jones.
Christopher D. Jones.
Donald T. Jones II.
Donald W. Jones.
Judith Lauter Jones.
Linda Jones.
Mary S. Jones.
Andrew Brian Jordan Sr.
Robert Thomas Jordan.
Albert Gunnis Joseph.
Ingeborg Joseph.
Carl Henry Joseph.
Stephen Joseph.
Jane Eileen Josiah.
Anthony Jovic.
Angel L. Huarbe Jr.
Karen Sue Juday.
Ann C. Judge.
Michael F. Judge.
Paul William Jurgens.
Thomas Edward Jurgens.
Shashikaran Lakshmikanta Kadaba.
Gavharoy Kamardinova.
Shari Kandel.
And our grandfather, Battalion Chief Joseph Grislak. Although we never had the chance to hold your hand or toss a ball around with you, we have come to know the kind of grandfather that you would have been. The stories passed down taught us that you were brave, brilliant, and an endlessly devoted family man, Marine and member of FDNY. Go.
We can feel your presence in every sign that you send, from the dragonflies by the pool, the dimes on the sidewalk, and every lyric of I Hope You Dance that plays at just the right time. We, along with Jojo and Ryan, embody so many of your qualities: strong, smart, and athletic. We are proud to live your legacy, call you Joe Knows, and most importantly, Poppy Joe. Continue to send us signs and continue to guide us in the dance we call life. God bless America.
Howard Lee Kane.
Jennifer Lynn Kane.
Vincent D. Kane.
Jun Ku Kang.
Sheldon Robert Cantor.
Deborah H. Kaplan.
Robin Lynn Kaplan.
Alvin Peter Kappelman Jr.
Charles H. Karcheski.
Charles L. Casper.
Douglas Jean Karpelov.
William A. Carnes.
Did I miss one?
I went back up here. Yeah.
Douglas Jean Karpelov.
Charles L. Casper.
Andrew K. Cates.
John A. Casimatides.
Robert Michael Kalfers.
Don Jerome Kalf Jr.
Hideo Kawauchi.
Edward T. Keene.
Richard M. Keene.
Lisa Yvonne Carney Griffin.
Carol Ann Kessler.
Barbara A. Keating.
Paul Hanlon Keating.
Leo Russell Keene III.
Brenda Kegler.
Chandler Raymond Keller.
Joseph John Keller.
Peter R. Kellerman.
Joseph P. Kellett.
Frederick H. Kelly III.
James Joseph Kelly.
Joseph A. Kelly.
Maurice P. Kelly.
Richard John Kelly Jr.
Thomas Michael Kelly.
Thomas Richard Kelly.
Thomas W. Kelly.
Timothy Colin Kelly.
William Hill Kelly Jr.
Robert Clinton Kennedy.
And my brother, Michael Wittenstein. Michael, not a day goes by that we don't think about you and love you.
And my cousin, Chris Robert Hughes. We love you, Chris.
Thomas J. Kennedy.
Yvonne E. Kennedy.
John Richard Cuham,
Ralph Francis Kershaw,
Ronald T. Kerwin,
Howard L. Kestenbaum,
Douglas D. Ketchum,
Ruth Ellen Kettler,
Boris Kailiev,
Norma Cruz Khan,
Sarah Khan,
Tamor Firaz Khan,
Reyes Jonderwall,
Saleh Ku,
Michael Vernon Fichter,
Satoshi Kikuchi Hara,
Andrew J. Homkin,
Lawrence Don Kim,
Mary Jo Kimelman,
Heinrich Kimmig,
Karen Ann Kinkan,
Amy R. King,
Robert King Jr.,
Lucille Teresa King,
Brian K. Kinney,
Lisa King Johnson.
Chris Michael Kirby.
Robert Kirkpatrick.
Howard Barry Cushbaum.
Glenn Davis Kerwin.
Helen Crossing Kittel.
Richard Joseph Claris.
Peter Anton Klein.
Alan David Kleinberg.
Karen Josie Kitzman.
Ronald Philip Klepfer.
Stephen Snap.
Eugenie Azev.
And my son, FDNY paramedic Carlos Leo. I'm here honoring him. The loss of the son is something very painful for any parents. Only the parents that have and pass with the situation understand my feeling now. My son was give his life away, saving other people's life. You don't imagine how many people he took out, give the first aid, and send them to the hospital. Today we celebrate the 24th anniversary of that Black Tuesday on September 11, where this country was attacked by those group of terrorists. And so many people, innocent people, died. I will never forget that day. And for me, I feel like it's today or yesterday. The feelings are the same. The loss of the son is something very painful. And I ask God to give me ¿cómo se dice? To understand that my son is not here with me anymore. I don't care how many years already passed. I never forget you, son, and you are always in my heart.
And my uncle, Lieutenant Ronnie E. Geese of Squad 288, who is also my best friend and confidant, a loving, affectionate, loyal husband, amazing, devoted father, son, brother, uncle, son-in-law, brother-in-law, now grandpa, great-uncle, and always a true friend. Life has never been the same and will never be the same. You are thought about every minute of every day. Your presence, especially your blue eyes, your handsome smile, and contagious laugh are truly missed. Thank you for guiding me daily, especially for the last 14 months. God bless America.
Time right now is 10:40. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC+. I'm Jane Monreal as we are dipping in and out of the ceremony commemorating and remembering 9/11 from New York City's Ground Zero. That reading of names will be taking place until 12:30. You are always welcome to watch the full ceremony that started at around 8:45 this morning on our secondary channel here on your WCNC Plus app on your Roku, Fire, or or Apple TVs. We want to bring you an update right now in the search for a suspected shooter in the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk that happened at University of Utah campus yesterday. FBI releasing some new details this morning. One, they believe the shooter's rifle was found in the woods. They've also recovered some prints, a footprint, and they're investigating those prints. And they do have video now of the shooter. So as they continue to peruse through the more than 130 tips this morning, those are the latest details they are releasing to us as they are continuing that manhunt for a shooter in the death of Charlie Kirk. Well, this morning, as we have been covering the aftermath of the fatal stabbing of Irina Zarutska on Charlotte's Blue Line on August 22nd, many people are asking how they can better protect themselves and their loved ones in public spaces. Right now, we're joined by Rob Chadwick, a former FBI supervisory special agent who headed FBI's training academy at Quantico and now the principal training advisor for the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. Rob, you bring unique insights on public safety and personal protection. Thank you for joining us here on Live Impact News this morning.
Morning, Jane. Thank you for having me.
Rob, when you heard about this tragic incident here in Charlotte, from a law enforcement perspective, what stands out to you about what happened on the transit system?
Well, it's simply heartbreaking to see. Of course, you have this young woman who fled a war-torn country looking for a better life, coming to Charlotte, assuming she was safe. And really the saddest part is so many of us have this false sense of security when we're in public. The fact of the matter is we do not know who we're sitting next to, who we're sitting in front of. And law enforcement the last several years has just been stretched to the breaking point. They cannot be everywhere at all times. Obviously, I'm a big supporter of law enforcement. Spent 30 years on the job. But any officer will tell you, we cannot be there all the time, everywhere. And so, people must accept that when they're in public, they are in at least some level of exposure to danger. You don't know, you can't assume. And so you must accept that you are your own first line of defense. You must become a stakeholder in your own safety and security, and that starts with that acknowledgement that evil is out there. It can and does happen to good people every single day.
Situational awareness. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, that is it's simply very intentionally paying attention to where you are, what's happening around you, and equally as importantly, being committed to take action if you see something anomalous, something that's just not quite right. All of us have this, what we call our intuition, or that gut instinct, or call it what you want. We all have this intuition that we must listen to. And intuition is nothing more than our brain's early warning detection system. All right, it is a subconscious self-preservation tool that we've all evolved with, and so many of us unfortunately just override that. Right, we plug our ears with earpods, we put our face in a bright phone, assuming that bias towards normalcy all of us have. Right, we think everything's fine. Nothing has happened before, so nothing's going to happen. That must be combated. That must be, dispelled. And when you're out in public, especially, be that person who's paying attention and, just as importantly, committed to take action in your own best interest. Even if that's just, I'm going to wait for the next train, or I'm going to move to a position where I can keep myself where no one is behind me. I will stand, or I will go down to another car, because you just don't know. You cannot trust who is ultimately just a stranger.
As we look at the case of Irina, of course, we got to look at our own habits, our routines, whether it's the transit or a concert or the mall. And it sounds like prevention and just, my husband always tells me, keep your head on a swivel whenever I'm out going, going about my day. So looking at that, and in hindsight, of course, 2020, could have being, aware of your surroundings, choosing a different seat, looking around you, could have prevented something like this?
I want to start by saying Irina did absolutely nothing to deserve what happened to her. As countless other victims, we could say the same thing about. But to answer your question, absolutely yes, right? It starts with understanding that there are predators out there and that predators exploit our predilection or our conditioning to be nice, to be trusting, to be welcoming. We have to get over this, compulsion to be nice and trusting and polite. That has gone out the window, unfortunately, for a little bit of time, and you must act as your own best interest, become a stakeholder in your own safety and security. Even if that just means, I'm going to wait to put that phone down until I'm in a safe place. I'm not going to check my email. I'm not going to, because I'm in public. I don't know who's around me. I'm not required to trust who is sitting around me, and time. Here's what's most important, Jane. Time is the most critical element during any emergency, all right? And if Irina had just sat maybe across the aisle from this person, that predator would not have had that tremendous advantage of surprise. Every predator out there wants to surprise their victim. And had she been able to see at least him coming with that knife, which of course she couldn't, maybe she would have at least a fraction of a second to offer some meaningful resistance, whether it's moving away or whatever that is. Put yourself in a position to take the most advantage of that, right? Buy yourself those few precious seconds to react and do something, even if it's just run away.
How can people stay alert, Rob, without, going into that paranoid or constantly fearful mode?
It's a discipline, Jane. It takes work. It is conscious work. No one can be on red alert all the time. It's exhausting, and you shouldn't be. But knowing the difference between, when you're at home and the door is locked and maybe there's something, maybe your dog is on watch, you can let yourself relax a little bit. And every one of us needs that. But when you're out in public, even when you're at church, right, unless you have a dedicated security team that is looking out for you, you have to be paying attention to what's going on. When you're at a movie theater, you can't completely relax. Understand that anytime you're in public, you're in danger. That is just a fact, all right? The other thing is this: what is predictable is exploitable. So if I knew, I'll take the gas station, for example, right? I could predict with absolute certainty, if I were a predator, with absolute certainty, where a procession of potential victims would be standing all day long, over and over and over again, with money in their hand, probably their face in their cell phone, and a means to escape, and it's right by a gas pump. So think of it that way, right? Think of it as easily exploitable because it's predictable. That's when you have to be most on your guard.
All right. If you do find yourself in a dangerous situation, what immediate response, what should your priority be?
Your priority should be time and distance. Always remember time and distance, and hopefully barricades, whether it's a bollard, anything that can put time and distance between you and whatever that developing trouble is, okay? It could be nothing. Empower yourself to act anyway. If you acted on something that turned out to be nothing, so what? But if you acted on something and it developed into something dangerous, you have now stolen back the two most precious elements, time and distance, to allow yourself to react, formulate, to offer some meaningful resistance, some meaningful action that is going to allow you to continue on with your day and return home to your loved ones.
Let's talk about an exit strategy. It sounds like that's part of it, but when you go into any kind of public space, is to look for the closest exit.
Always. I'll share a tip. Whenever I go into a restaurant, and this drives my wife crazy, right? But I always walk in. The first thing I do, no matter the type of restaurant it is, I make a circuitous route to find the restroom. Now, it's good practice to wash your hands, but that is also cover for me checking out not only where the exits are, primary, secondary, tertiary if need be, but who's in that restaurant. What's going on? What are the demeanors happening? Where is the table that I want to sit at? And I am willing to wait for that table, right? So I'm just getting a lay of the land. I'm committing that to my memory on the very, very outside chance that something does develop. And I'm also committed to take action. If something starts developing in that restaurant, my loved ones and I are gone by the fastest route possible, because it's not my business to try to wait and see or solve the problem. It doesn't involve me. I just want to go home and get on with the rest of my life.
All right, so you work now with everyday people protecting themselves. What's the most important lesson that you try to teach them?
The most important lesson is acceptance, right? Acceptance that this can and does happen all the time, every day. Law enforcement in the United States has changed dramatically over the last 5 years. All of us must understand, law enforcement agencies are on average down 25 to 30% staffing wise. They can barely man the streets. And so response times in the last 5 years have doubled. When you pick up the phone and call 911, it takes twice as long on average in the United States for that first policeman or policewoman to get there. So you must understand, I am on my own for longer than I think, and I have to come up with a plan, even if that plan is just run away, put time and distance, arm myself with something. It doesn't have to be a gun, but that arming yourself with the foreknowledge and a plan and a commitment to action, that is the most paramount thing I could tell anybody.
And as a bystander, we saw on some of the footage there with Irina, you feel helpless. You don't know what to do. Do I run? Do I help out Irina? What's the mindset? What do you tell people is the best thing to do to be a first responder or be your own first responder?
So all of us as human beings, it's incumbent upon us to understand what's important to keep either ourselves or a loved one alive in a critical situation. And don't invest in a stranger. Invest in yourself, invest in a loved one. You could have an accident in your home tonight where someone is cut badly, or you could be involved in an accident and someone is bleeding badly. Invest some time, find out right now, today, sign up for a class. It's one of the reasons I joined the USCCA myself. We offer medical training on how to keep people alive long enough for definitive help to get there, for a paramedic to show up that can do things, right? But there are things that just a normal human can do, an everyday person without any real training, that will buy people that time, right? Understanding what's important now, that WIN acronym, W-I-N, what's important now. Go to a class, invest in yourself, invest in your family. Maybe you have a little first aid kit that you throw in your bag that you maybe have in your car or in your go bag, whatever it is you do. But understanding how to staunch blood flow, how to keep someone's air supply open just for a little bit of time, right? That could make all the difference. I was so proud to see at least one bystander on that train try to offer some sort of meaningful intervention to buy Irina time. Now, unfortunately, it didn't work. But had some of the other bystanders gotten involved maybe a little bit earlier, we could be having an entirely different discussion right now, and that young lady might have survived. But think about this. If it's your loved one that's in that position, you don't want to think, man, I should have gone to that training, a couple weeks ago. The USCCA has a website, uscca.com. All you got to do is enter your zip code, and it will spit out a list of, almost an unending list of classes, most of which are free. That's why I'm so proud of what I do now. It's incumbent for people to understand you must get involved and become a stakeholder.
Love it, Rob. Great conversation, great advice. Want to let your resource again, uscca.com?
.com. That's it. Just start there. And like I said, there are plenty of other resources out there too. I love what we do. We have just almost endless amounts of training and instructors all over the country. We have over 8,000 instructors in every corner of the country. So seek out some kind of training. Understand this could happen to you, and the worst feeling in the world, as you described, Jane, is not knowing what to do. And there's no excuse for that. You can do it yourself. Empower yourself. Start today.
Rob Chadwick, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really great discussion you had there with safety and what we can do. Like you said, empower ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
I also spoke to Irina Zarutska, well, not Irina herself, but obviously, but what do we call her? We call her Dr. Natalia. She is famous out of Ukraine, a television presenter as well as a trauma expert. I spoke to her about Irina's situation because this has reached worldwide headlines, and Irina's family might be familiar with her. So this is part of our conversation that she wanted to talk about. She herself, a Ukrainian refugee. So we'll play part of this, at least for you now, here on WCNC Plus. You fled Ukraine how long ago? And just tell me your story of what happened in your circumstances.
I lived in my country. I was so popular TV presenter, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, in one day, I felt bombing my country, and very quickly I get up with my children, and I lived all this time in Germany. And I know always refugee. It's not easy way. It's not easy for mother, and it's not easy for Ukrainian.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about the trauma you experienced, and what did you? How did you react when you learned of Irina's death here in Charlotte?
I didn't know about this story, and maybe only 3 hours ago, and I read what happened, and I'm shocked because for me it's a young, beautiful woman who don't make something bad for anybody, and she went so far for be alive, and for me, it's about which high price we need to pay just for be alive. And I hope I try to find some idea why it's happened for us. And I think she's angel who again said to this world about Ukrainian, about our situation, that you are never safe. We had our house, we had our life. We never, who lived in Ukraine before war, we wanted to live at our country. We don't need any documents for another countries. We don't need any money for our life. We wanted to be at our country. And if people, refugee, they was needed to change their place where they lived. And it's so sad for me because I understood how many women now think again about dangerous, about their daughters who are 20 years old, about their own life. And for me, it's so terrible. I'm shocked.
No, it is. The rest of that interview with Dr. Natalia will play later on here on Live Impact News with Nick Sturdivant starting at 12:30. In the meantime, we are coming up on our time here in the Live Impact studio. Charlotte Today is up next. We'll leave you with that continuing the reading of the names at Ground Zero in New York City on this 9/11, 24 years later.
Martino Kramer.
Joseph A. Mascali.
Bernard Mascarenas.
Stephen Frank Macy.
Adele Mason Acker.
And my sister, Maureen Lyon Olson. Rini, next month you're going to become a